Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Recovery Channel. God, grant me the serenity. We say that prayer every time we go to a meeting, sometimes twice. But what does that even mean? What is serenity, and how do we find it? Is it something that can only be granted by God, or can we find it somewhere or earn it? Let's talk about that today. Serenity is defined as the state of being calm, relaxed, untroubled. It's often associated with a sense of inner peace and harmony. As we often say around here, recovery is more than abstinence or sobriety. It's a way of life that is joyful and full of hope. Our long-term goal is to have a calm, harmonious life, and that be our default mode, the way we usually feel and can get back to pretty quickly after periods of stress. Living a life like that, full of hope and serenity, it's personal to you. Finding peace and serenity during difficult times is also a personal journey. And what works best for one person may be different than what works for another. It may take time and experimentation to discover the strategies and practices that work best for you. I can tell you one thing for sure, though. While being sober does not guarantee serenity, I can guarantee you that you won't find serenity if you're not sober. So sobriety should always be at the top of the list to focus on. No one can grant or give you serenity. There's no magic pill that will give it to you. And if you're thinking you know of one, no, that's not it. It may grant you a short-term feeling of well-being, but that's not serenity. That's chemical dependency, and it doesn't end well. True serenity isn't about avoiding or escaping life when it gets tough. That's just not reality. True serenity is living life in the present moment, accepting what is, and calmly dealing with life. It's also finding inner peace, calmness, and having self-control even while facing life's challenges and chaotic moments. For most of our Step 7 videos, Phil is going to present a series on emotional well-being that provides a foundation for that long-term serenity we're talking about. Today, we're going to give you some tools for how to get through the rough patches. That can feel impossible in the moment, but it really isn't. It's not easy, but it can be done with practice. We're not suggesting that you're going to be all zenned out 100% of the time. That's not realistic either. But if you have a strong foundation of healthy living, both physically and emotionally, and you also have tools for getting through the rough times, that's the formula for living in serenity. So let's talk about some tools for getting through life's stressful situations. Ironically, when being faced with a stressful situation, staying in the present is the best way to stay calm. The stress of trying to escape it or catastrophizing about what might happen next causes us more anxiety than the actual event. Practicing mindfulness, as explained in week 13 by Phil, can help you stay grounded in the present moment and reduce anxiety. It involves focusing your attention only on what is going on right now and not judging it as good or bad. It just is. You also pay attention to your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. This can actually help you detach from the potential chaos of the event by simply accepting it. Let's give a quick example. Let's say you come out of a store and your car is gone. Someone stole it. You went to the bank earlier and put a bunch of cash in the glove box. Your phone was in it too. You flag down a cop and are giving them a report of what happened. You feel confused, betrayed, angry. A million things are racing through your head as you try to figure out how you're going to get home, how you're going to get to work, how you're going to replace the cash, get all your contact information back. The cop is asking you a bunch of stupid questions instead of putting out an APB for your car. Who in the world could possibly expect to be serene in this moment? Not many people, let's be real. But you do have a choice as to how you handle it. First, Take a deep breath. One of the easiest and best ways to calm yourself down is to breathe deeply. Take long, deep breaths when you feel overwhelmed, and that activates the body's relaxation response and can help you stay calm in turbulent situations. Then we use mindfulness to recognize how we feel. Wow, I'm totally spun up right now, and that's okay, and it's totally understandable. But I need to calm down. I need to calm down because I'll be able to think better. Then take another deep breath. Okay, there's a lot of things I'm going to need to figure out, but right now, in this moment, I'm talking to this cop so they can take a report and get the ball rolling on finding my car. Let me focus on that right now. Right now, it's just me and this cop, and I'm having this conversation. The rest can wait. The next tool is acceptance. Acknowledge and accept the situation and your emotions, even if they're negative. It's okay to feel fear, anger, or sadness during difficult times. Accepting your emotions without judgment is a step towards inner peace. Check out page 417 in the AA Big Book. In a situation like our car getting stolen, have you ever heard yourself saying, "Why is this happening to me?" Or, "This is not happening right now"? Think about it. Does that ever help? Playing the victim and denying or running from the truth only makes it worse. Try this instead. This is happening, and it is upsetting for sure. I don't know why it happened, and I don't like it, but it is happening. What can I do right now, in this moment, to help get through it? There may be nothing you can do, and sometimes we need to accept that as well. And try to let it go. Worrying does not make the situation any better, and all we're doing is causing ourselves more suffering. Accept it and let it go. That's the first line of the Serenity prayer, isn't it? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The next one is to seek support. Talk to friends, family, or a therapist about your feelings and experiences. Or go to a meeting. Sometimes sharing your thoughts with someone you trust can provide emotional relief. Remember, we get 3 things when we share: support, healing, and freedom. Support from the person we're sharing with, healing the program promises, and freedom. We don't have to carry around that stuff anymore. We are free. We never have to do this alone. Now, one caveat to this one. Do yourself a favor and don't call that friend that tends to get you all riled up. And you know who I'm talking about. That one that wants you to be prepared for every worst case scenario, even though that they never happen, and they will make sure you have every base covered. Don't call that one. Call the one that understands the principles we're talking about today and will validate your feelings without trying to solve your problems. Calmness, acceptance, and support. If you're a spiritual person, acceptance goes right along with surrender to your higher power. The Bible tells us that the Lord said to Paul, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." The Quran says that Shuhada is the soul's heartbeat. Its rhythm is the surrender to the cosmic knower, the ultimate doer. In Hinduism, the scriptures say that surrender is the simplest way. In Buddhism, if you wish to develop understanding, kindness, and clarity, you must willingly surrender to dukkha, the inevitable pain of life. For thousands of years, the enlightened have understood that the path to inner peace is through surrender to a higher power. You don't have to like what's going on, but the sooner you can accept it and surrender it, the sooner you will have peace. If you don't follow any particular religion, hopefully you have found a higher power that works for you, and you understand that there's something out there bigger than you that you can trust with your problems. Okay, so we started this session with the Serenity Prayer, and we're going to end with a quick breakdown of it. These are words to live by, and I don't want to get so used to saying them that they lose their meaning. God, grant me the serenity. We can do all of the things that we just talked about to help us stay in a calm and peaceful place. But in the end, it all comes down to admitting that we need help from our higher power. A grant is something that is given to you that you don't have to pay back. Your higher power gives you this grant with no expectations of anything in return. However, we do need to surrender in order to receive that grant, which leads us to accept the things we cannot change. Acceptance is surrender. It's admitting that we don't have much control over anything other than our next decision. In AA, we call this living life on life's terms. Now write that one down. I will live life on life's terms. We must accept things as the way they are now and not how we want them to be. When we have expectations of ourselves and others, we will almost always be disappointed. We have to stop trying to change the things that are not within our power to change. And we have to accept the fact that something bigger than us is in charge. Life is in session, and there is no pause, rewind, or fast forward button. We have to go with the flow. I must live my life in acceptance and willingness and go with the flow.
When I first felt it, I couldn't define it. I was in the shower. Just got done doing my steps, and I felt this overwhelming sense of, I would say, peace, but different. That everything was okay. No matter what was going on, everything was okay. No matter what was going on, it was going to be okay. So I got out of the shower, wrapped a towel around me, went to my phone, called my sponsor, explained to him what was going on because I was scared. And I explained what I was feeling. I explained the emotions. And he said, well, young man, he said, what you're experiencing, young man, is serenity for the first time. So I don't know that I could actually define it. For me, it was a sense of overwhelming peace that everything was going to be all right, no matter what was going on, because I'm not in charge. That's what I meant by an absence of Rob. It ain't about me.
The courage to change the things I can. While much of life is not within our control, there are things that we can choose to change. Our attitudes, our outlook on life, our next right decision. These are the things that we can control. We can look at life as a battle to be won or a journey to be experienced. We can see events as blessings or curses. Only we have the power as individuals to change our viewpoints and our attitudes. Life can be meaningful and beautiful or tragic, and it is our choice which it'll be. Much of the time, changing our mindset takes courage. Walking through things that are uncomfortable takes courage. The instances that are the scariest and most difficult to walk through are often the ones that are most important to us. And so we look at our higher power to give us the courage to do what we know is right. And the wisdom to know the difference. It can be a struggle to recognize those things which are in our control and the ones that aren't, especially when our will is strong. If we want something badly, even if deep down we know it's against what our higher power has in store for us, we can easily convince ourselves that it is still one of those things we can control or change. We have to take time to be quiet and listen and ask our higher power to help us know which things are about our will and which are about our higher power working in our life. Meditation is often a good time to reflect on our choices and ask for guidance. When we do not listen to our inner voice and our higher power, we often walk down paths not meant for us and we find ourselves lost. If you are trying to recognize the difference between the things which you can and cannot change, simply take a deep breath. Quiet yourself, and then ask if this is God's will or self-will. One final thought on serenity. It is a lot like contentment. It is not about acquiring something or achieving some goal. Once I get this thing, then I'll be content. No, It's about accepting where you are and what you have right now and appreciating it. I encourage you to continue to seek and trust in the process. I want to say that again. Trust in the process. Thanks for joining us for another week at the Recovery Channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, and always remember, recovery is possible today.